a new type of video on my channel right now. We're doing political takes, mostly for the 2024 election currently. Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. I'm going to make my prediction as of October 20th, 2023. So, I had to change programs. I was using ABCs, but I don't know how to work that one, so I'm just going to end up using this one. So, let's get started. Let's fill in some blue states first that we know that's going to be blue on election night. No question about it. Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, if it will work. Minnesota, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, I don't know how to say that good. Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, MD, what's that again? Maryland, and then District of Columbia. Virginia. Is there any more I'm missing? New Mexico, yeah. And that should be about it for the 100% Democrat. Now let's do 100%. No question asked. Election night for the, right here, let's go ahead and do that. The Republicans. I'm not being biased on this take of the. I'm just going by the recent. I forgot that's actually Democrat. Illinois. West Virginia, that's a swing state. Alright, so you see most of the maps already filled up. These are my predictions. Of course, we got the South here. We got basically the middle and then the edges. Democrats, that's how it's really all been for a while. Before Ohio got out of the swing state category. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swing states. I almost forgot Alaska. Sorry, Alaska. We got these 6 states. I will predict I'm predicting on patterns of electoral polls recently, and the factors each candidate's campaign in each state. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark the ones that I'm gonna predict are being Democrat in this election. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada. That might change though. Nevada's a really tie state. Oh, I forgot. This is a toss-up state too. Georgia could either be Republican or Democrat because a lot of new young voters. It might be in the South, but there's also young voters, and don't forget Atlanta has a lot of young voters in it too. Cities are usually Democrat though, so the real ones I'm struggling with is Pennsylvania and Nevada. Nevada, I'm gonna predict it's gonna be blue this year though, and I have Georgia is most likely gonna be red because it's been actually in poll numbers. It's been going up really on red recently, real up on them Trump polls. You see, Democrats are about to get to 270, but we might stop that. Arizona and North Carolina are at 261. Now, this is the state that's going to decide this election this year. It's Pennsylvania. There's a lot of key factors for it, like Trump's assassination attempt was there. That doesn't do too much for the voting, but that could also help with Republican numbers going up in that state, so there's also a lot of history for it being a Democrat state. Like back in 2020, Joe Biden won Pennsylvania, barely, and back in 2016, Trump won it against Hillary, so I do not know. I am going to take a very early guess and say Trump wins the election with a very small margin, maybe a margin of 5,000 or 3,000 Republican votes in the state of Pennsylvania. That is my predicament for that state. Now, some of this may change. This may happen. This is another one. It may become blue. It may be red. Nevada could be red. and this could be blue, and Harris wins. It's going to go down to the Pennsylvania, with it being really close, both factors included. Any party could win Pennsylvania, but my predictions say Pennsylvania will be won by Trump in this election, and Nevada will be won by Harris. I'm going out for this and saying that. So, a lot of these states, I'm going to explain them. So, Pennsylvania, back in 2020, it was won by Biden, Democrat, and back in 2016, when Trump was against Hillary, it got won by the Republicans. That's probably the main reason they won that election. So I'm guessing it'll go back to tradition and a pattern, and it'll go back to Republican and the polls. The polls really boosted it recently, but it's been going down, leaning towards Harris a little bit. So that state is the best battleground state. That's going to determine the entire election right there. This little 19 electoral votes. That is going to determine it. And North Carolina, historically red, and it's just, I don't know how this ended up as a swing state this year. I get the polls are a little close, but I think North Carolina is obviously going to be won by the Republicans this year. So Georgia taking the lead in Republicans highly right now in the polls, all around sources. There is a small chance it could be won by Harris though, since a lot of young voters from Atlanta are from there. So yeah, Wisconsin and Michigan, they're going to be won by Trump, of course, Harris, because they're two northern states, and Minnesota, in some cases, it falls into the swing state category, but I honestly think, since Tim Walz is from there, and it's kind of been a meme, that Minnesota's just been, like, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat since, like, Jimmy Carter, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and say that is blue. Nevada, it's usually goes down to the wire, about 5,000 to 10,000 votes in that state, going down to, usually it leans towards the Democrats sometimes, and sometimes it leads towards the Republicans. These battleground states are getting a little crazy this election. And then we got Arizona. They are leading in the polls right now. Trump, across multiple sources. They're western out past the Mississippi. Most of those states get won by Trump, except it's what I call twin brother New Mexico, being blue for the most part. Same with Colorado up here, and California, obviously. Arizona, my prediction's Trump. Is there any others on here? Nope. I think the Republicans will win, as you can see up here, by a little bit, but I still think Harris will win, because of the electoral votes is how Trump will win. But by national average, it's going to be Harris, in my opinion, because if you remember the 2000 election versus George W. Bush and Al Gore technically won that election, but he never actually got to be president, since George W. Bush won the majority of the electoral college votes, which is stupid in some cases, and sometimes it gets a party an advantage, mostly for the the Republicans. So I think it's going to go down to the wire in this election. It's going to be determined by one state, and that one state is Pennsylvania. So, yeah. So, you see, if Harris wins this, she wins. But if Trump wins it, he wins. So, it's really my prediction. Pennsylvania will be won by Trump. This all predicts Inauguration Day on January 20th. Where we either get to see Donald for the 47th President of the United States, or we get to see Harris sworn in as the 47th President. First time she's ever been not a Vice President in office. So that is my predictions for presidential elections as of October 20th, 2024.